It was the muscles. So when I was in high school, Pinterest was like getting super big and popular, and I remember seeing Dana Lynn Bailey, of course, everybody loves Dana Lynn Bailey, on Pinterest, and I was like, I want to look like that. Had no idea who she was. She just looked awesome. And I was always so tiny in school. I just had a really small frame. Like, I didn't even weigh over 100 pounds until I graduated from high school. Once I saw progress, it was just kind of like game over. Like, okay. Even though I was a cheerleader in college, like, I've always been really shy, really reserved. Don't really like being in front of the camera. Honestly, being like half naked in front of a bunch of people is really intimidating. But it's like a switch flips whenever I was in front of people in the stands. And that's kind of what I'm having to do with competing too. I actually went to go see one of my friend's sisters. She cheered at Texas State. And so we went to go watch one of the Texas State football games and got to watch her cheer. And so I was like, that looks really cool. You know, it's not a sorority, but it's kind of a sorority. Like, you have all these, you know, friends that you make through your sport, but it's still athletic, and, you know, you get to enjoy football season and all that stuff. So I was like, I want to do that. So learned how to tumble, learned how to stunt like a couple months before tryouts, went to U of H tryouts, made the team. I did large co-ed, which is like, it's a, you know, girl flyer with the male as your partner. So I did that in college. That was amazing. It was a lot of fun. And then, you know, we practiced pretty much every day, you know, especially during football season, every day. That was kind of when I started getting into working out a little bit too, outside of just sports. So, you know, we would go to practice for like 3 hours a day. And then, you know, instead of going to like party or, you know, being in a sorority or doing whatever, I would go to the gym. So I made a lot of friends in the gym and honestly just fell in love with working out. And so that's kind of how I got started. It was the muscles. So, you know, when I was in high school, Pinterest was like getting super big and popular, and I remember seeing Dana Lynn Bailey, of course, everybody loves Dana Lynn Bailey, on Pinterest, and I was like, I want to look like that. Like, she just looked awesome. And I was always so tiny in school, like I had no butt. I wore jackets all the time because my arms were super tiny. I just had a really small frame. Like, I didn't even weigh over 100 pounds until I graduated from high school. So that like athletic, strong look appealed to me. And so, you know, when I got in college and realized you can do this too, like, you can put on the muscle, you can be athletic, that's kind of where it started. And like, once I saw progress, it was just kind of like game over. Like, okay. I went to college for kinesiology. When I graduated college, I was a personal trainer, and I did that. I didn't do it for like a corporate gym, I did it for myself. So trained in Houston at a gym called The Core, and that was amazing. Ended up moving after I graduated back to Kingwood, kind of my hometown area, and I opened up my own personal training studio there. Having my own training studio, I obviously made my own logo and my own marketing stuff and my own website and all this stuff to help promote my personal training business. And then I realized that's way more fun than training people. Like, I love training, but it got old being in the gym all the time, training people. Fell in love with the marketing side of running my own business. And so I realized this is what I want to do full time, and then just have the gym for myself. Got out of personal training. I ended up getting a full-time job as a graphic designer for a company called DIY. Did that, and once I got a feel for that and like loved it, I ended up leaving that company, and I still worked for them freelance, but I started taking on other clients as well. And so I was like, you know, I can do this for myself and get tons of clients and, you know, dabble in different businesses instead of just one. And that's kind of, you know, I fell in love with that, and that's what I'm doing now. Yep, so I'm preparing for Texas State Championships November 2nd. Currently like right under 3 weeks out. This past Saturday was 3 weeks. Yeah, that's my first show, first figure show, and I'm super, super excited about it. I've wanted to compete for a long time, and I just never really felt ready. So I always trained like a bodybuilder, but I feel like the environment I'm in right now and the support system that I have is what really triggered me to actually go for it. So January of this past year, like January 1st, I was like, okay, I'm gonna decide by January if I'm actually gonna do it or not, because I was of course still like, I don't know. So January 1st hit, took that whole off season up until like 12-ish weeks out, and then I started my prep. Even though I was a cheerleader in college, like I've always been really shy, really reserved, like not that loud, don't really like being in front of the camera, but it's like a switch flips whenever I was in front of the, you know, people in the stands or, you know, whatever, because you're able to do your skills, and I would think of it more like a sport. And that's kind of what I'm having to do with competing too. So being on the stage and, you know, honestly being like half naked in front of a bunch of people is really intimidating, especially when I'm like as reserved as I am. But yeah, so I'm constantly have to push myself out of my comfort zone. I'm trying to go into it with no expectations, but at the same time like going into it like with the mindset to kill, in a sense, a little bit. Hunter always says, be a shark. And I laugh at him when he says that, because I'm like, I'm just gonna go, it's like a beauty pageant, but you know, it's not at the same time. So I'm trying to go into it with no expectations. You know, it's my first competition, so I really don't know how I'm gonna do. I feel like people have this skewed vision of like what fitness people are like. You know, they think they just get like paid to go to the gym, and I'm not, you know, a big name in the fitness industry, but it's what I aspire to be, I guess I should say. But everybody's working on their own thing, and it's not like you get paid to go to the gym. You know, you gotta be your best, and, you know, do your work, whether it's in the fitness industry or in a different field of work. And then you got to be your best in prep. You just always got to be your best. You know, nobody's going to take it easy just because they have a job, or nobody's going to take it easy just because they're in the fitness industry and, you know, do something more gym related. You always got to kill what you're doing, and you can't slack. And I feel like that's what I've been doing. So we'll see how this show goes.
The first place award, title of 2019 NPC Texas State overall figure champion, number 66, Misty Statum.
Oh my God. It was worth the wait.